CTV News with Ricardo, Veneza.
We want to thank EM for coming forward and for her strength in participating in this process.
Supporters of the complainant at the center of a high-profile sexual assault trial are still coming to terms with a verdict that returned no finding of guilt today. Good evening. All 5 former members of Canada's World Junior Hockey team were found not guilty of sexual assaults in a blockbuster trial at the 401 in London. CTV's Adrian Gobriel begins our coverage tonight on the extraordinary drama that played out today.
The pressure-packed culmination of a historic 8-week criminal trial.
Definitely been emotional for everybody involved.
With the defendants arriving for decision day inside, the proceedings began with a recap of the evidence brought before the courts. Justice Maria Caracia opened by proclaiming that she didn't find the evidence of EM, the complainant, to be either credible or reliable.
There were videos that were put to her. There was testimony of other hockey players. She was heavily cross-examined on that to raise some doubt about her credibility.
During a brief break in today's proceedings before the verdicts were even delivered, the accused hockey players were seen smiling and hugging their lawyers and family members in the courtroom. While delivering her verdicts, Justice Caracia told the court that where EM had gaps in her memory, she filled them with assumptions. Going on to share that EM testified that while at Jack's Bar in London, Ontario, it was the players who bought her drinks all night, though video evidence shows EM purchasing multiple beverages herself. Previously, EM told the courts that on the night of June 18, 2018, she'd arrived at a downtown hotel with Michael McLeod where they had consensual sex. Afterwards, McLeod then sent this text message to teammates asking who wants to be in a, quote, three-way. Multiple teammates arrived at room 209. EM alleged that she was, quote, manipulated and intimidated into remaining inside this hotel room. Though in her findings, Justice Caracia shared that she couldn't find any of the players guilty of sexual assault beyond a reasonable doubt. Former World Junior Team Canada captain Dylan Dubé and teammates Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Alex Fermenton have each been found not guilty of sexual assault. McLeod has also been found not guilty of being party to the offense.
We heard protesters scream for justice today. Has justice been served?
Yes, I think that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to see justice served here, and Justice Caracia has done a thorough and careful analysis and delivered a just verdict, and so that's what we've seen here today.
As part of her reasons for her decision, Justice Caracia also added that she was satisfied that EM encouraged the men inside that hotel room to take part in the sexual acts and even became upset when they declined her invitation. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, London, Ontario.
As you saw and heard there, demonstrators made their presence felt and displeasure known as the verdict came down.
This case has been very frustrating to watch. There have been a number of twists and turns, mistrials, jury dismissals, and the marathon cross-examination that EM sat through was just, she showed an incredible amount of bravery, but it has been really just further evidence that the civil criminal systems were not designed for survivors, and that we really need to see some big systems change.
Outside the courthouse, a large group turned out to support the complainant. Many worry the verdict will set back efforts to convince the victims of sexual abuse to come forward to police. CTV's John Vanavali-Rao has that side of the story.
Representatives from more than a dozen sex assault centers made their presence known in London, there to support the complainant, and disappointed by the judge's decision.
It makes me sick. You know, it's gutting. It's absolutely gutting.
Those who work with abused women say the trial, regardless of outcome, showed problems in how sexual assault complaints are handled, pointing to the 9 days of questioning and cross-examination EM was subjected to.
She was put on the stand and put through the ringer, and it was excruciating to watch and listen.
This is probably why I have this sign, because that is one courageous woman, one strong woman, to do what she did for us.
And they worry the high-profile nature of the case and not guilty verdicts could make the victims of sexual crimes more reluctant to come forward. A report last year found just 6% of sexual assaults are reported to police, and 1 in 19 of those led to a sentence involving custody.
The sad part about it is some of it is not surprising just because of the system and how it's continued to let down victims and survivors who come forward.
And the case ignited fresh conversations about sex and the culture surrounding sport in Canada.
If I had a son who was in a room that night, I would be very upset. Regardless of whether you think a crime was committed or not, I think we can all agree it was a bad situation. And for the men that were involved in that hotel room, I think at least one of them should have had the wherewithal to speak up and say, guys, this isn't right.
Some say the verdict doesn't erase concerns about hockey culture and the power dynamics that can exist, and being legal isn't synonymous with moral approval. John Benavalli-Rao, CTV News, London, Ontario.
Windsor police have released video today hoping for tips in the investigation of a late-night armed robbery in the city last Sunday. Police say the video shows the getaway car used after officers were called to Dufferin Place just after 11 p.m. on July 13th in Windsor. Police say a man walking down the street was confronted by a shirtless suspect in a medical mask who allegedly pulled a handgun and stole the victim's side bag with $450 inside. The man wasn't hurt. Police say the SUV is a black Chevy that they're looking for. In a separate investigation, police say an automated license plate reader flagged a stolen pickup from Essex in Windsor, and officers were able to track the truck and charge a man and woman with theft and drug offenses. In Chatham, Kent, a woman wanted in a major drug case there has now turned herself in. Police say the 22-year-old failed to appear in court last fall after a traffic stop led to the seizure of allegedly forged documents, drugs, $190,000, and a banned weapon. The woman is facing trafficking and property-related charges. More now on Canada's efforts to secure a tariff deal with the U.S. And the American ambassador to Ottawa is now suggesting the August 1st tariff deadline isn't the be-all, end-all floated by the president. CTV's Abigail Beeman brings us that update.
Dominic LeBlanc wrapped up Washington meetings, including with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, for now.
We're going to continue to work towards the August 1st deadline. We're going to be back here again next week. But all of these deadlines are with the understanding that we'll take the time necessary to get the best deal.
While this Republican senator is less optimistic about the timing.
I wish that I could say it feels good that this is all going to be taken care of before the 1st of August, but I'm not sensing that.
Still, Canada is stressing there's progress, the ambassador pointing to the Prime Minister's announcement targeting cheap foreign steel imports.
The measures that Canada has taken on steel, in particular, against anti-circumvention, are some of the strongest in the world, and that has been recognized and very much appreciated. So we're making some positive progress.
They say they're hurt and they were insulted, and it's kind of like, well, it's not a whole lot of people or countries that we've asked to become the 51st state that I can remember.
Meanwhile, we're hearing more from U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. CTV News obtained the full video of his comments at a summit where he made headlines for this.
Well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with.
He also weighed in on that August 1st deadline.
Whether it's August 1, I don't see it extending a lot past that. I'd be surprised if we were still talking about it on September 1.
Ambassador Hoekstra also said he's optimistic about the future, but there needs to be more advocates for the Canada-U.S. relationship. From his position, 90 days into the job, he says there aren't any. As he put it, there are political parties saying elbows up and relative quiet from the business community. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
As the cross-border trade tensions persist, many in the region may be considering a trip through the tunnel to catch the Tigers Jays series this week. It may be one of the last times to catch the tunnel and special events buses before the service ends. But our Bob Belichico reports there are ongoing efforts to keep the long-standing service alive in some way, shape, or form.
This is the busiest weekend of the year.
Baseball fans from this side of the border will be flocking to Comerica Park to see the Toronto Blue Jays take on the Detroit Tigers, two of the best teams in Major League Baseball.
This is going to add at least a few hundred more vehicles to each day, up to 1,000, again, depending on who's pitching.
Come September, the tunnel bus is done, while the special events bus will cease operations in December.
If we had some type of vehicle that could transport people the 2 kilometers or less than 2 kilometer radius back and forth over the tunnel that's constantly going, we would see more people coming over here and more people would go over there and we'd connect better with our downtowns.
This might be a solution. This here is a 5-passenger gem car, which is already deployed in Detroit.
This vehicle is a microtransit service that is operating across North America
as we speak.
With the use of an app, the vehicle can pick up a group and take them through the tunnel to their destination.
We're looking to work with local partners that would be interested in supplying, personnel that would be able to fill these vehicles with drivers.
Josipa Petronic is a leader in transportation and energy systems and says killing the bus is more than a labor discussion. She feels losing the bus kills a huge technology deployment opportunity.
It means it is the only place in North America where we could test speed-controlled autonomous bus shuttles, speed-controlled autonomous buses integrated across 2 countries for interoperability and standardization. This is game-changing.
Petronic feels Windsor Detroit could integrate automated technology faster than the auto sector and says there is an opportunity for Windsor to seek funding the government already declared will be made available through the Canada Public Transit Fund.
This is a transit opportunity. It's also an opportunity to get the kind of operational support for Windsor that it needs in order to deploy not just technologically advanced transit, but just sustainable transit in the tunnel.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
Okay, and for those wondering about the game over in Detroit, sorry Tigers fans, it was the Jays winning 11-4. After the break, Gary Archibald joins us with a look at some stormy weather coming our way.
The pickleball ball court in question is currently constructed over top of our sanitary trunk main.
Still ahead, our Michelle Molesky tells us about the Pickleball Pickle, a small community in Essex has been served. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joining us now for a check of the forecast. Gary, it was a hot one today. It felt like the air was on fire at times. Thankfully, this is going to be relatively short-lived.
You're right about that. Cold front that has brought the showers and thunderstorms, the watches and warnings for that severe weather is ushering in a, relatively speaking, cooler air mass. It's already begun. We're still in the midst of significant rainfall potentially between now and tomorrow morning. The temperature forecast, we knew it was going to be a warm day. Unofficially, 35.4 would beat our record. That's why those fractions, obviously, numbers after the decimal point to the right matter. And, of course, we'll be concerned more about how the heat and humidity play into the forecast for the overnight. Nocturnal thunderstorms potentially because of that heat and humidity combining to energize the atmosphere. Warm air rises with energy, of course, and condenses into the clouds that produce the storms. There are obviously other factors involved, but we knew that the clash of cold meeting warm could elicit or trigger these storms. And it looks like not only will this initial cold front be the reason why we see the wet weather tonight, the gusty winds, potential for some hail, maybe dime or nickel size hail, but gusty winds 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. We could still be in those alerts between now and even 6, 7, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. The heaviest rainfall is likely to fall right where we live in extreme southwestern Ontario. And we need that rainfall. So the silver lining is growers and members of the agricultural community, this is a blessing for them. The overnight temperatures are still warm, several degrees above seasonal. 22 feels like 30. The thunderstorm risk is present and ongoing through the early morning stage for your Friday. So where do we go from the overnight? Tomorrow morning starts off warm. 22 already feels like about 30, 31. Showers, thunderstorm potential is the morning and early afternoon theme before we get to fair weather in the afternoon. 29 feels like about 39. Still a warm, humid day, but is cooler by 6 degrees in terms of the daytime high. More showers for the weekend. Temperatures hovering around 30 degrees through Monday and Tuesday of next week, and still raining. Wednesday, Thursday, 28. And then down at 23. Yes, a significant cooling trend is coming our way as we head towards the middle of next week.
Looking forward to it, Gary. Thank you. It was a hot one today, folks. Well, new health research suggests Getting in your 10,000 steps may be overkill, and that 7,000 steps a day is plenty to provide significant benefits. That comes from a study published in the Lancet Public Health Journal. Researchers found people who take 7,000 daily steps have a nearly 50% lower risk of health complications like cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and dementia. The study found increasing daily activity by just 1,000 steps makes a major difference. The unofficial 10,000 step target comes from a Japanese marketing campaign, which wasn't based on any actual health research or guidance. It just sounded nice. Losses in base metals and consumer cycles helped drive Canada's main stock index lower. The TSX losing 44 points. The Dow dipping big time, 316 points, while the Nasdaq climbs 38. The Canadian dollar also down today to rest at 73.37 cents U.S. Gold down again, more than $24 an ounce, while oil is up 78 cents a barrel.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca. The town of Tecumseh is the latest municipality to look at beefing up security measures in the face of growing public angst in council chambers. Our Stephanie Mazzotti takes a look at the phenomenon and what residents can expect.
Tecumseh Mayor Gary McNamara says towns and municipalities across Ontario are increasing security measures due to recent incidents.
We've seen what's happening in Brampton. We've seen what happened to the mayor there as well, and the threats.
McNamara referring to death threats made against Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown and his family.
This is not the first time I've received a death threat. I did so a number of years ago. I'm sure it won't be the last, and it certainly won't change my approach.
Closer to home.
You remember April 5th, 2023 at the county. It was pretty ugly.
That Essex County Council meeting was interrupted by 270 protesters inside and outside of council chambers. Some of those demonstrators yelling and swearing at council members.
I'm in charge of this meeting, not you. I will not tolerate outbursts. I will not tolerate disrespect.
In response, council shifted its regular meeting to Zoom. Already in place at Tecumseh Town Hall, a wireless panic button recently installed in council chambers, which, if pressed in an emergency situation, directly contacts the OPP for assistance on site. Barriers are also in place to differentiate the public from council. Effective immediately, Tecumseh residents must sign in with their name, contact info, and may have to show identification before entering the chambers. Council is also looking into the presence of security personnel who can help to deter and prevent inappropriate conduct and help detect or deal with any perceived threats that might arise.
What we're trying to do here is be proactive and not reactive.
Stephanie Mazzotti, CTV News.
To provincial politics now, and NDP leader Marit Stiles is spending much of the summer on the road for what she calls her All In for Ontario tour, which has already had a stop in Windsor, Essex. Stiles spoke this morning about what she's hearing from residents who have been hit hard by the trade war with the U.S. and other challenges.
The point is to actually bring politics to the people, get out there and actually listen to where people are at. I think if you listen to the Premier, most of the time you'd think everything was A-OK in the province of Ontario, and it certainly is not. Whether it's the job losses, permanent job losses that we're already seeing as a result of the tariffs, or the hospital closures in communities like Thessalon in Northern Ontario or right here in Southern Ontario. There are some really big issues that people are grappling with. And for most people, it's about, just getting through the day. Things are pretty tough out there, and I'm looking as well for solutions because I think the solutions are out there in Ontario among the people of Ontario.
The Premier has repeatedly said he views U.S. tariffs and trade tensions as a major threat to Ontario's economy. He weighed in on the issue at this week's First Minister's Summit in Huntsville.
I don't trust President Trump as far as I can throw him. He constantly changes his mind. It's you just don't know who you're dealing with. You know, he signed that deal with Japan at what was it, $550 billion they're investing. Last time I checked, Japan they buy about $79 billion of products off the U.S. We buy about $349 billion of products. So Japan and the rest of the countries around the world have quite a bit to catch up to what we purchase off the U.S.
And of course, a major focus of that meeting in Cottage Country was finding ways to boost trade within Canada in a bid to blunt the effects of reduced trade with the U.S. The Windsor-Essex County Health Unit is warning residents tonight the measles threat is not over. The health unit is reporting new detections of the virus in local wastewater. There is no current fast-spreading outbreak in the way there was earlier this year, but officials are still urging parents to ensure their children are up to date on their measles and mumps vaccine. The virus is incredibly contagious and can present a host of complications, even leading to death in some cases. The health unit is offering summer catch-up clinics to boost immunization rates before school starts. It's a pickleball pickle for an Essex community who loves the sport so much. A resident decided to build a court of his own. The only problem is the court is on public property and the town isn't too pleased. Our Michelle Molesky looks at the order to tear out the nets and the case to save them.
Lake Crest Beach Road is a quiet coastal community with a thing for pickleball.
Many residents have taken up the sport since the spring. We've also taught the children on the beach to play pickleball, and I think they're quite enjoying it as well.
Rob DeMena put it adjacent to his home.
It was nothing malicious about it. I have a great group of neighbors. They had talked about pickleball. I had played a little bit. I enjoyed it. So I chose to put it in.
DeMena admits he built the court without permission, but begged for forgiveness and a lease agreement with the town.
I would be the sole leaser. It wouldn't be the beach leasing it, which means I would cover the insurances.
The town could not be persuaded.
The pickleball ball court in question is currently constructed over top of our sanitary trunk main, which feeds into our sanitary treatment plant.
According to Macbeth, it's also located on top of the water main that services these residents. The town's legal department isn't happy with it either.
Sets a really bad precedent for council. Basically what council would be saying is if anybody put something up on town property without permission, that we would try to find a way to allow it.
After a brief in-camera session, council returned with the verdict. The court must be removed by August 20th.
At their cost, under the supervision of the town's infrastructure department. That is moved by myself. And I'm sorry.
In Harrow, Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
Pure Country 89, Windsor's country music station. Pure access to the biggest stars and the hottest songs. Download the free iHeartRadio app to listen to Pure Country everywhere.
Okay, Gary is back with his 7-day wrap. And Gary, after a hot one today, looks like we have some stormy conditions moving into the region for tomorrow.
Yes, you're right. Lingering effects, secondary and tertiary, right? The second and third waves behind the initial cold front are likely to elicit more shower and thunderstorm activity. The initial wave is usually the most potent, right? Leading edge of that cold front, the start, the beginning of active weather. Secondary circumstances can still have potency, but not usually as potent as the initial instigator, if you will. Still looking at cloudy conditions. Friday's still warm, but instead of 35 degrees Celsius, we'll see 29 feeling like 39 instead of 35 feeling like 45. Showers Saturday, Sunday, likely in the morning if we do see it at all. Then Monday, Tuesday, 33, 31, warm to start the work week. Wednesday, Thursday, 28, followed by 23 degrees Celsius. Wherever you are, have yourselves a good night. Rest, and hopefully you're not woken up by the thunder. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Okay, Gary, thank you. Well, finally for us tonight, folks, we meet an Essex student who, before even making it to grade 5, has already become a published author and illustrator. Robert Lothian brings us the story.
Why did the ducks take down the decorations? Booble said. Because they were quacked.
To ask Harper Grace what she wants to be when she's older is a bit of a silly question.
Offer, I already am.
A soon-to-be grade 5 student at Essex Public School, Harper recently published her first book, Maricopia, A Tale of Hope, a fantasy humor story following Harmony, a mermaid dog.
You can get the power of the elements, except there's 5. Water, earth, wind, thunder, and fire, and Harmony has got all of them. She's the Ultima, and she and her friends go on this quest to stop the Fire Lord.
Harper has been putting pen to paper since she was 7, even going back at times to improve on her writing.
Not one word on the first page is the same as the one it was when I started.
The 10-year-old wrote all 235 pages and added her own illustrations with a little help from her little brother Ryan.
I felt like it would be easier to draw a picture from a little kid if it was done by an actual little kid, so...
Harper's work is receiving attention, now making its way onto Amazon. So far, her debut publication has reached about 50 copies sold.
I was kind of worried that nobody would care, but I guess a kid writing a book is a big deal.
I started as like a way to just kind of like have her settle down before bed. She would just write a few pages because we cut screen time off a little bit in advance. And then she just kept going with it.
Interest in the book is even making waves across the school board. But for her mom, the success is anything but surprising.
She's a very creative kid, and she's a very stubborn kid. So when she sets her heart on something, it's usually successful.
A knack for creative writing, Harper isn't slowing down, already planning a new addition to her bibliography, The End of the Rainbow.
I have a very good idea of like picturing things in my mind, how things want to go. Like with my next book, I'm like planning the entire first chapter out in my head right as I speak.
She's hoping that story will be another chapter in her career with an already budding byline. Robert Lothian, CTV News, Windsor.
Fantastic stuff. Keep writing. Looking forward to the next one. That's our time tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. We'll see you again tomorrow at 6. Until then, I'm Ricardo, Veneza, and for everyone here at CTV on both sides of the camera, have a great night.